21st century suggested that MBTs were still necessary. 33. Design. The Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe defines a main battle tank as a self-propelled armored fighting vehicle, capable of heavy firepower, primarily of a high muzzle velocity direct fire main gun necessary to engage armored and other targets, with high cross-country mobility, with a high level of self-protection, and which is not designed and equipped primarily to transport combat troops. 34. Overview. 1. Periscope. 2. Gunmantlet. 3. Coaxial gun. 4. Bore evacuator. 5. Main gun. 6. Driver's optics. 7. Driver hatch. 8. Glacis plate. 9. Continuous track. 10. Machine gun ammunition. 11. Commander's machine gun. 12. Hatch or cupola. 13. Gun turret. 14. Turret ring. 15. Hull. 16. Engine air intake. 17. Engine air compartment. 18. Side skirt. Lithe front skirts air armored on Abrams. 19. Drive sprocket. 20. Link. 21. Rotewheel M1 Abrams diagram num.svg. Countermeasures. The Challenger 2 is equipped with Cavorm armor, an advanced composite armor. Originally, most MBTs relied on steel armor to defend against various threats. As newer threats emerged, however, the defensive systems used by MBTs had to evolve to counter them. One of the first new developments was the use of explosive reactive armor, ERA, developed by Israel in the early 1980s to defend against the shaped charge warheads of modern anti-tank guided missiles and other such high explosive anti-tank, heat, projectiles. This technology was subsequently adopted and expanded upon by the United States and the Soviet Union. IDF Merkava MKIVM tank pictured on the Gaza border. It has the Trophy active protection system installed, which have become operational in the IDF since 2011 to deal with missile threats. MBT armor is concentrated at the front of the tank, where it iloed up to 33 centimeters. 13 in thick. 35. Indian Arjun MBT Mk.1 demonstrating 360-degree neutral steering capability. Missiles are cheap and cost-effective anti-tank weapons. 36. ERA can be quickly added to vehicles to increase their survivability. However, the detonation of ERA blocks creates a hazard to any supporting infantry near the tank. Despite this drawback, it is still employed on many Russian MBTs, the latest generation Contact 5 being capable of defeating both heat and kinetic energy penetrator threats. The Soviets also developed active protection systems, APS, designed to more actively neutralize hostile projectiles before they could even strike the tank, namely the Shtra and Arena systems. The United States has also adopted similar technologies in the form of the Missile Countermeasure Device and as part of the Tank Urban Survival Kit used on M1 Abrams tanks serving in Iraq. The latest Russian MBT, according to many forum members, the T-14 Armata, incorporates an AESA radar as part of its Afghanit APS and in conjunction with the rest of its armament, can also intercept aircraft and missiles. 37. 38. MBTs can also be protected from radar detection by incorporating stealth technology. The T-14 Armata has a turret designed to be harder to detect with radars and thermal sights. 39. Advanced camouflage, like a Russian Nakedka, will also reduce the radar and thermal signatures of a MBT. 40. Other defensive developments focused on improving the strength of the armor itself. One of the notable advancements coming from the British with the development of Cavorm armor in the 1970s. It was first employed on the American M1 Abrams and later the British Challenger 1. bulk of all armor uses a lattice of composite and ceramic materials along with metal alloys to defeat incoming threats, and prove it highly effective in the conflicts in Iraq in the early 1990s and 2000s, surviving numerous impacts from 1950-60s-era rocket-propelled grenades with negligible damage. It is much less efficient against later models of RPGs. For example, the RPG-29 from the 1980s is able to penetrate the frontal hull armor of Challenger 2.41 weaponry. Main battle tanks are equipped with a main tank gun, and at least one machine gun. The Russian T-14 Armata has a three-tier protection system, with the Afghanit APS, the Malachit era and composite armor. Merkava Mk3D Baz of the Israel Defense Forces firing its main gun. MBT main guns are generally between 100 and 125 mm caliber and can fire both anti-armor and, more recently, anti-personnel rounds. The cannon serves a dual role, able to engage armored targets such as tanks and fortifications, and soft targets such as light vehicles and infantry. It is fixed to the turret, along with the loading and fire mechanism. Modern tanks use a sophisticated fire control system, including rangefinders, computerized fire control, and stabilizers, which are designed to keep the cannon stable and aimed even if the hull is turning or shaking, making it easier for the operators to fire on the move and forward/ or against moving targets. Gun missile systems are complicated and have been particularly unsatisfactory to the United States, who abandoned gun missile projects such as the M60A2 and MBT-70-42, but have been diligently developed by the Soviet Union, who even retrofitted them to T-55 tanks, in an effort to double the effective range of the vehicle's fire. The MBT's role could be compromised because of the increasing distances involved and the increased reliance on indirect fire. 31. The tank gun is still useful in urban combat for precisely delivering powerful fire while minimizing collateral damage. 25. French Leclerc I explosive anti-tank, heat, and some form of high-velocity kinetic energy penetrator, such as armor-piercing fin-stabilized discarding sabot, APFS. Rounds are carried for anti-armor purposes. Anti-personnel rounds such as high-explosive or high-explosive fragmentation have dual purpose. Less common rounds are beehive anti-personnel rounds, and high-explosive squash head, HESH, rounds used for both anti-armor and bunker busting. Usually, an MBT carries 30-50 rounds of ammunition for its main gun, usually split between heat and kinetic energy penetrator rounds. Some MBTs may also carry smoke or white phosphorus rounds. Some MBTs are equipped with an autoloader, such as the French Leclerc, or the Russian /Ukrainian T-64, T-72, T-80, T-84, T-90, and T-14 and, for this reason, the crew can be reduced to 3 members. MBTs with an autoloader require one less crew member and the autoloader requires less space than its human counterpart, allowing for a reduction in turret size. Further, an autoloader can be designed to handle rounds which would be too difficult for a human to load. 43. This reduces the silhouette, which improves the MBT's target profile. However, with a manual loader, the rounds can be isolated within a blow chamber, rather than a magazine within the turret, which could improve crew survivability. However, the force of a modern depleted uranium armor-piercing fin-stabilized discarding sabot round at the muzzle can exceed 6,000 kN, a rough estimate, considering a uranium 60 cm /2 rod, 19 G /cm 3, at 1,750 m /s. Composite and reactive armor could withstand this kind of force through its deflection and deformation, but with a second hit in the same area, an armor breach is inevitable. As such, The speed of follow-up shots is crucial within tank-to-tank combat. 44. As secondary weapons, an MBT usually uses between 2 and 4 machine guns to engage infantry and light vehicles. Many MBTs mount one heavy-caliber anti-aircraft machine gun, AAMG, usually of .50 caliber, like the M2 Browning or DSHK, which can be used against helicopter-sound low-flying aircraft. However, their effectiveness is limited in comparison to dedicated anti-aircraft artillery. The tank's machine guns are usually equipped with between 500 and 3,000 rounds each. Situational awareness. Circular review system of the company Limpid Armor. Performing situational awareness and communicating is one of 4 primary MBT functions. 45. For situational awareness, the crew can use a circular review system combining augmented reality and artificial intelligence technologies. 46. These systems use several externally mounted video sensors to transfer a 360 view of the tank's surroundings onto crew helmet-mounted displays or other display systems. Mobility. A Pakistani VT-4 of the 6th Armored Division undergoing testing runs. MBTs, like previous models of tanks, move on continuous tracks, which allow a decent level of mobility over most terrain including sand and mud. They also allow tanks to climb over most obstacles. MBTs can be made watertight, so they can even dive into shallow water, 5m, 16 feet, with snorkel. However, tracks are not as fast as wheels. The maximum speed of a tank is about 65 km per hour, 40 miles per hour, 72 km per hour, 45 miles per hour, 4th Leopard 2. The extreme weight of vehicles of this type, 40-70 tons, also limits their speed. They are usually equipped with a 1,200-1,500 HP, 890-1,120 kilowatts, engine, more than 25,000 cc, 1,526 cu in, with an operational range near 500 kilometers, 310 mi. The German Army has prioritized mobility in its Leopard 2, which is considered one of the fastest MBTs in existence. 36. The MBT is often cumbersome in traffic and frequently obstructs the normal flow of traffic. The tracks can damage some roads after repeated use. Many structures like bridges do not have the load capacity to support an MBT. In the fast pace of combat, it is often impossible to test the sturdiness of these structures. Though appreciated for its excellent off-road characteristics, the MBT can become immobilized in muddy conditions. The high cost of MBTs can be attributed in part to the high-performance engine transmission system and to the fire control system. Also, propulsion systems are not produced in high enough quantities to take advantage of economies of scale. 47. Crew fatigue limits the operational range of MBTs in combat. Reducing the crew to 3 and relocating all crew members from the turret to the hull could provide time to sleep for one off-shift crew member located in the rear of the hull. In this scenario, crew members would rotate shifts regularly and all would require cross-training on all vehicle job functions. 48. Cargo aircraft are instrumental to the timely deployment of MBTs. The absence of sufficient numbers of strategic airlift assets can limit the rate of MBT deployments to the number of aircraft available. 49. Military planners anticipate that the airlift capability for MBTs will not improve in the future. 50. To date, no helicopter has the capability to lift its. 25. Rail and road are heavily used to move MBTs nearer to the battle, ready to fight in prime condition. 50. Where well-maintained roads allow it, wheeled tank transporters can be used. 51. The difficult task of resupply is usually accomplished with large trucks. 52. Ukrainian BM or plot, produced by the KMDB, guided onto a tank transporter. Ukrainian BM or plot, produced by the KMDB guided onto a tank transporter. A former British Army Challenger 1. A former British Army Challenger 1. The Italian Air Riot. Its relatively low weight, 54 tons, facilitates mobility, especially while crossing bridges. The Italian Air Riot. Its relatively low weight, 54 tons, facilitates mobility, especially while crossing bridges. The Indian Arjun Mk1A demonstrating movement over BOM track. Storage. Main battle tanks have internal and external storage space. Internal space is reserved for ammunition. External space enhances independence of logistics and can accommodate extra fuel and some personal equipment of the crew. 53. The Israeli Merkava can even accommodate crew members displaced from a destroyed vehicle in its ammunition compartment. 48. Crew. Emphasis is placed on selecting and training main battle tank crew members. The crew must perform their tasks faultlessly and harmoniously, so commanders select teams taking into consideration personalities and talents. 25. Role. U.S. Marines during the Iraq War riding an M101 Abrams tank in April 2003. The main battle tank fulfills the role the British had once called the universal tank, filling almost all battlefield roles. They were originally designed in the Cold War to combat other MBTs. 31. The modern light tank supplements the MBT in expeditionary roles and situations where all major threats have been neutralized and excess weight in armor and armament would only hinder mobility and cost more money to operate. Reconnaissance by MBTs is performed in high-intensity conflicts where reconnaissance by light vehicles would be insufficient due to the necessity to fight for information. 50. In asymmetric warfare, main battle tanks are deployed in small, highly concentrated units. MBTs fire only at targets at close range and instead rely on external support such as unmanned aircraft for long-range combat. 54. Main battle tanks have significantly varied characteristics. Procuring too many varieties can place a burden on tactics, training, support and maintenance. 55. The MBT has a positive morale effect on the infantry it accompanies. 56. It also instills fear in the opposing force who can often hear and even feel their arrival. 25. Procurement. Manufacture. Mechanics at an Eastern Army depot line up an M1 Abrams turret with its shell. MBT production is increasingly being outsourced to wealthy nations. Countries that are just beginning to produce tanks are having difficulties remaining profitable in an industry that is increasingly becoming more expensive through the sophistication of technology. Even some large-scale producers are seeing declines in production. Even China is divesting many of its MBTs. 50. The production of main battle tanks is limited to manufacturers that specialize in combat vehicles. Commercial manufacturers of civilian vehicles cannot easily be repurposed as MBT production facilities. 57. Prices for MBTs have more than tripled from 1943 to 2011, although this pales in comparison with the price increase in fighter aircraft from 1943 to 1975. 31. Marketing. Several MBT models, such as the AMX-40 and AV-40, were marketed almost solely as export vehicles. 50. Several tank producers, such as Japan and Israel, choose not to market their creations for export. 50. Others have export control laws in place. See also. Tanks. Portal armored warfare. List of US military vehicles by model.
Good. The video splits in 20 seconds, so let's stop the video and keep it in 2 parts. So I will start to charge my camcorder, and I will make a video in Danish, my language.